Is predictability boring? I mean, when you think about it, like your routine is already set up and you have the same thing over and over each and every day. I mean, for the most part, I mean, give or take. I mean, yes, the days can be different, but is predictability just straight up boring? I'm not really talking about spontaneity, although I guess having your schedule changed, that can be spontaneous, right? That can happen at any time. So you have a schedule, you are supposed to do stuff that day, and you can't get it done because something actually happens. Let me dial it back several years ago and give you an example of what I mean by that.
I really don't like these toothbrushes. So fresh and so clean. So for any of you who have small kids, you get it. And now my kids are not small anymore, but I will say that you want to talk about unpredictability. Well, that definitely happens when you have small kids. And there's a theme here because I'm trying to roll with it today and figure out what I'm going to be doing. Example, I said I was going to dial it back a little bit, several years. So having small kids, the predictability of what they're going to feel like that day is really tough, because you could have a kid that literally is feeling like completely amazing the night before, bouncing off the walls, happy-go-lucky, all of the things that you think, okay, well, tomorrow is just going to be a regular old day and I'm going to be able to do what I'm going to do, and the kids are going to go to daycare, preschool, school, whatever. That actually changes in like a split second. Things can happen in the middle of the night and you get those warnings, fevers happen, somebody throws up, somebody's got some kind of sniffle that starts getting like really, really bad and turns into a cough or whatever. And so that predictability then becomes, well, I'm predicting that I am not going to work today, or I'm not going to be able to do what I had planned on doing today. And having small kids will definitely throw you for a loop constantly.
Building a business is already hard enough as it is, without all of that stuff thrown in there. When kids are sick or you're not being able to schedule things when they need to be scheduled because you don't know how they're going to be feeling, especially when they start some kind of illness or sickness. And you want your kids to be healthy, but again, it comes down to having all of these plans, well-laid plans to move forward on whatever it is that you're doing, and then they end up disrupting that. But like I said, love the boys, and we've always been able to manage it some way, juggling the schedule. It's always a challenge though. So I remember having like where one kid would get sick and you think, okay, got a couple of days here, and you want to be the responsible parent. You don't want to throw them back into daycare or school too early, because ultimately that's going to push you further back, because if you do it too soon, then they could actually get sicker and then you're out even several more days. But having multiple kiddos, one starts out with the illness, starts to feel better, and as soon as they go back to school, boom, the second one. Whether that's the middle kiddo or the oldest kiddo or the youngest kiddo, somebody develops the symptoms again. They don't always develop the symptoms at the same time. We have had those situations where all three have been sick at the same time. It's been rare, but I will say that we've had several days where one's sick, then they go back, and then by the time they go back, somebody else gets sick, and so on and so forth. And then you're definitely weeks out of work or projects or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it's hard. And eventually we got to a point where the boys were just, self-sufficient. They weren't getting sick all the time. They were going to school. It was a lot easier. But now we actually have a new situation in the household where my wife's mother lives with us, and talk about resetting the predictability or being unpredictable. That is really hard. This is definitely hard because we can't leave her by herself, and so she needs help. And it's one of those things where you get caregivers dialed in, things are going well until someone calls out sick, or something happens, which actually, by the way, we were all sick. So I'm sorry to the caregiver that actually is not feeling well, because you likely picked it up here. We apologize. I definitely have patience when it comes to illness. I get it. And like I said, just last week, I was feeling terrible. So I know what that's like. And you don't want to work when you're feeling terrible. But I will also say that does throw us into a tailspin a little bit. And I am totally fine to pick up that slack because I am more able to do that. But as far as the unpredictability, getting calls this morning from the caregiving place saying that they're not sure if they can staff the house today. So I had all these plans. I was going to be filming and doing different kind of film, but you know what? I pivot. Just like I said in one of the other videos, if something happens with my schedule and I'm supposed to do one thing, well, I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to continue to do those things, but it is still a pain. It's still hard. But I have to keep moving forward. And that predictability, although might sound boring to people, it's actually nice to rely on it. So I rely on that predictability. Although having that mindset of being able to pivot and to do something different, that's actually what I'm going to be doing today. Hi, this is Kevin. Oh, hi, Lindsay. Yeah, that's totally fine. Totally fine. All right, so yeah, I'll see her at 10 then. Yeah, don't orient her. I really appreciate all that effort. I really do. Thank you so much. All right, thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Well, talk about predictability, unpredictability. Just got a phone call from the caregiving place, and they have somebody to fill in, so we're back on. I just have to figure out what I'm back on doing. All right, so one of the things that I actually got to pivot into today, which I was planning on doing it earlier, but now, things change and I got to do this. I just finished editing this podcast that we're launching. I haven't been podcasting in like 8 or 9 months. I really actually enjoy the platform. I'm going to talk more about it on this channel. But I was able to just take these tracks that we laid down probably a month ago and finally get them edited so that we can actually launch the show. It's a ridiculous show. It's a show about nothing but everything, essentially. Titles and information will come out on the channel, but anyway, this was actually fun today. It was different because I'm normally editing video, and so to get back into audio editing, that's actually pretty fun. Oh, and apparently we're going to be doing like a Hot Ones themed show, and Marie has ended up getting a few sauces, I think, that we're going to have on there. This one is definitely one that I'm curious about. The Virginia Gentleman. Does it take it easy? Is it smooth? Or is that just a facade? And really, it's not much of a gentleman, and it's going to bite me. And something that actually parallels the predictably unpredictable, it's not necessarily unpredictable, but the outdoor soccer season has just started officially today. What a gorgeous day to pick for outdoor soccer practice to start, although I know that they didn't really have any control over the weather, but it definitely feels like spring. So it's not unpredictable. What it is that it's jamming more stuff into a smaller amount of time, and now I'm actually forced to continue to hustle even more and to continue to just cram as much as I possibly can. So as I'm launching, not only doing more filming, YouTube, but the podcast, launching a new podcast, and now the schedule every day got soccer and multiple soccer practices a day. So I had to drop Declan off first in another town, and now I'm here in Boulder with Flynn because his practice is a little bit later. And so it's, I appreciate it. I appreciate actually having to do a lot more with fewer hours in the day. So I don't typically have an issue with productivity. It only helps me kind of level things up. So I'm just going to embrace the chaos and hopefully manage it like I did last time. But gorgeous day anyway. I don't know. I think I might have to end it here because I'm not exactly sure where this is going as far as we talked about the predictably unpredictable. and having to work around kids' schedules when they were really little, and it was hard to plan and hard to build and hard to scale, but I was able to do it. And if I was able to do it, I know that you can do it. And then actually having more added to the plate, more added to the calendar, trying to get it all done. And like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. So go out there and get it done. And even if you don't have this much chaos, great, good for you. But I would say maybe try to schedule things to a point where it feels just a little bit uncomfortable, and it may press you just a little bit harder. Out of here on this one. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.